Hello, my name is Jason W. Tapscott, and you are watching A Thought in Progress, subtitled I Have Something to Say. This is the fifth episode. Um, we're going to talk a little bit about medications today. Um, as those of you who have watched the previous episodes know, I'm a certified peer specialist, which basically means I'm a professional crazy person. And the great thing about being a CPS is that the mental health condition, the disease, the illness, if you will, becomes something virtuous, right? It becomes something we can lean on as a positive rather than a negative. Because we when we work as a CPS, we're able to take what we've learned about our own mental health condition and our own mental illness and really take inventory on ourselves and take stock of where we're at in our recovery process. And if we're at a place where we feel comfortable enough, which you have to be to work as a CPS, you have to be in a good place, right? Uh, at a good place in your recovery process. So you become comfortable enough with how you work, your inner workings, including the illness, including the symptoms, and then you become an expert on them, on the whole process, and you can then help other people, right? So it's like I'm climbing a mountain. Okay, my recovery process is me climbing a mountain, you know, getting closer and closer to wellness, or maybe, reaching a plateau and actually being well for a while. And then I've got a rope that I'm using as I climb. I'm pulling and I'm encouraging other people to climb up and find the footholds and the toeholds that I've found going up the mountain, so that they get to where I'm at. And that's the whole process right there of being a CPS and really learning, because life is self-discovery. That's the purpose of life, to discover who we are, our role in the universe and society. And really, when you think about it, yes, we're imperfect beings. Yes, we're limited beings. Yes, we have a lot of things that are wrong with us. Even people who are diagnosed and who don't have mental health issues, um, we all have our share of issues as human beings. And the key thing is what we do with that, right? And really, the only way we can be perfect is by fulfilling the role that we were meant to fill. You know, in other words, finding our place in the jigsaw puzzle of life and contributing to connecting other people to services, to each other. It's about connection. It's about relationship. Okay. Um, I teach Sunday school right now. I'm teaching adult Sunday school class, and one of the key things I'm talking about in there is, for one, how can we be perfect, right? In a sense, how can we fulfill our role in society, and how can we connect with each other and with the divine, however you want to put that. I'm Christian, but I have some Buddhist leanings, and I'm also very I have open arms to all of humanity, no matter what they believe. And I think that's the way we should we should be. We should interact the way we should lead our lives. So I said I was going to talk a little about medication. So I want to get to the medications that I'm taking. I'm going to hold them up to the camera here. Maybe I don't know if you can see that, but this here is actually a med for GERD, which is an acid reflux disease. So that's a medical med, right? That's a medical med. That has nothing to do with psychology, nothing to do with my mind, except it keeps me free from pain. So, all things are interconnected. So, my body wellness affects my mind wellness. My mind wellness affects my body wellness. And there's spiritual wellness in there too, which I was talking about, going to church or whatever you need to do to get that peace too. Let's talk about the whole person here and the whole idea of entire wellness. I'll just call it that, entire wellness. Wellness in every phase of our lives, um, including some that we sometimes neglect, especially the ones we sometimes neglect. So here's another med. I know you can't see it. It's the lighting isn't great, but this one is called Zyprexa. Okay, some of you may know that's an antipsychotic, and it also helps me sleep. Um, what happens to me at nighttime and why I need this med here? My brain speeds up. My mind goes too fast. It's part of my schizoaffective has a bipolar component, so sometimes I get too high and sometimes I get too low. And when I get too high, and I'm not talking about drugs, recreational drugs. I'm talking about mood, right? Emotional stability. When my mind goes to the upper reaches of where it can go, my thoughts will start to race. That's a common symptom that probably you've heard before. My thoughts start to race, um, and I will need that med to slow me back down. It's almost a sedative, really. And and in the past, they used tranquilizers to do that, and they were too strong and they weren't effective. And we can get into that some other time. But medication has come a long way these days. But I want to say this before I get to the next med. Um, Meds are only part of the solution, right? When I first started therapy, my therapist, when I was 18, was really reluctant to get me going on meds. Um, but eventually he realized that I was in a place where I couldn't do the necessary work on myself, so that one day I would need the meds. I wasn't in a place where I could do the work that I needed to do in my mind, and shore up some things and build defenses and, really get more well. So he said, you know what, therapy is not the not working right now. It's not the ultimate solution. So we need to add a piece, and that piece was medication. Okay, and um, I'm not I'm not I'm not upset about needing meds, and I'm not um, it doesn't hinder my pride. It doesn't make me any less of a person. Would you say if someone had metastatic cancer, or the cancer is spread throughout their body, and they need to take meds for that, would you call that person with cancer, living with cancer, would you call them a weak person? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. And so we need to change the way we look at meds, right? First of all, meds are not the ultimate solution. Okay, you need to do work. You need to do work on yourself. Okay, but the meds can get you to a place where you can think rationally and then do the work, and eventually you won't need the meds, right? It's not about it's not and I hear this a lot. It's not about um, complying completely with the medical model or whatever you want to call it. Taking my meds, I take my meds so that no one yells at me and bothers me and all this, or I don't take my meds and suddenly I'm in trouble. It's not about obedience and compliance. It's about knowing what's best for you, right? And being an expert on your own experience and saying, okay, this is what I need, and I'm not going to be upset about it. I'm not going to lose any pride if I do this, if I take this med. Okay, it's it's actually fairly simple. Who are you? What do you need? Answer those questions. Who are you? What do you need? And how can you go about getting it in a way that's still functional in society? Okay? And the final med that I take, very, very helpful med. And I've only recently really understood that this med is very important to me. Um, that's another thing. Meds take some time to build up in the body, and it can take a while for them to take effect. So be patient with yourself. Well, be patient with yourself no matter what, right? But this is Wellbutrin, okay, and I take a 100 milligram tablet for that. I take that in the morning with my acid reflux medication too, and that helps me um, get elevated in the morning to a place where um, I can do the work on myself, and I can bring that work to others at my job site at the community recovery center. Um, so what did we talk about today? We talked about the peer support process. We talked about being a functional member of the jigsaw puzzle that is the human family, that is society. You know, we talked about medications, knowing what works for you, and not being upset with yourself, being able to use that without feeling shame. You know, 'cause shame is never helpful. Um, we want to eliminate as much shame as we can, and we need to be okay with who we are and where we're at. Um, I heard I don't know where I got this, but it's not. I didn't come up with it. But we need to accept ourselves wherever we're at any given moment, wherever we're at in our recovery process. We need to accept ourselves. Um, I've been to programs. I've been a participant at programs. I work at one now. So I'm on the other side of the table. But before, I went to programs for years, and I was not in a good place, and it took me time. And I think that experience gives me a little more patience with the people I'm working with. Okay, and that's important to remember to be patient with people and accept them wherever they're at. Okay. I did want to show you something. It's so cool. I have to show it. It's almost in the camera right now. This up here. This is a dream catcher, uh, given to me by family, um, by a family member, um, and I just thought I'd show it. And it does help me sleep just knowing it's there. And really, I'm not. I know because I'm a Christian, I'm not supposed to believe things like that, but I think it really does maybe affect my sleep. So that comes from a place of spirituality, and we're going to talk more about spiritual wellness next time. Um, but I want to share that I take meds. I'm okay with taking meds, and I'm going to self acceptance is where the healing begins, where the recovery process starts. That's base camp at the bottom of the mountain, and you go up from there. That's your foundation, self acceptance. Okay. Um, so that was a good episode. Thank you for watching. Um, if you like what I have to say, which I'm fairly certain that you probably do, uh, I have books out. They're fictional. I'm working on completing the third installment in the series of short story novellas. So pick that up at jasontapscott.com. They're 99 cents each. You can't go wrong. I'm fairly certain you'll fall in love with the characters in there. The settings are mental hospitals and prisons, which I have personal knowledge about those settings. So um, I would encourage you to look at it. And you can get them on Amazon.com too. Right now, they're only ebooks. I'm working on the paperback, and I hope to have that done in the summertime. So thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time.